dropped a 20-14 decision to the Iowa Hawkeyes last Saturday at Kinnick Stadium. Purdue with one more game before the bye. That's coming up this Saturday against the third-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Noon kickoff at Ross-Ade Stadium with our pregame coverage starting at 11 o'clock. Good evening, everybody, from Walk-Ons in West Lafayette's Purdue Memorial Union. It is the Ryan Walters Show. We're going to talk Boilermaker football with the head coach until the top of the hour. You can on the Purdue Athletics site. Let us know where you're watching from, and also if you have any questions. We're also on X at the Purdue football site. A little bit later on in the show, we'll have Cam Allen and Gus Hartwig joining us as well. We'll be back with the head coach right after this. It is the Ryan Walters Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
So that's how they align every time, and they make their adjustments from there.
Here's Hill, and that throw hits right off the face of his receiver, bounces up, and it is intercepted. I guess he was lined up in the perfect spot. Talking about Wiedemann. Ball bounces directly to him. He's a terrific tackler. He's a ball hawk.
Hill's on the money with the play-action pass. It's a vision defense, bounces off the receiver's hands. Wiedemann. Players like Eugene make you pay.
Second and goal. And this football goes straight up into the air, off the hands of Hill. Now he's just trying to dive on it, and he's able. And now that clock rolls. Card. Trying to step up in the pocket. Now he escapes. Eyes downfield. Has a target. It's Sheffield down the sideline. He goes and in for the touchdown. Hill. Pressured and dropped. Back into the end zone like that. A little different look to it these days, but that one still haunts the Irish. Complete this time. Maccabee, and Maccabee goes airborne as he crosses.
2 plays. We've got themselves in scoring distance.
Hard. Tipped up in the air. It's caught. This is Sheffield. Now Sheffield inside the 15, so it's tipped. Card hands it off. Maccabee into the end zone. He will go. So Purdue making a game of it.
The Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. The Rohrman Automotive Group is supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of the Ryan Walters Show and proud partner of Purdue Athletics. Rohrman Automotive Group, boiler up and hammer down. Here with the head coach, and you said last week Iowa is Iowa. And they were Iowa on Saturday. They won the football game there the same way they've won a lot of games in 25 years under Kurt Ferentz, and that is they played solid defense and they didn't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, like I said, Iowa's Iowa, right? You know, it definitely a frustrating game. I think this was the most disappointed I've been this season, just because some of the mistakes we made, really all the mistakes we made were self-inflicted. And when we just were assignment sound and played clean, we were able to do what we wanted to do. But like I said, Iowa's Iowa, and when you make a mistake, they will exploit that. And as a result, they were able to win a game.
One of the things you always want to do when you play the Hawkeyes is get a lead, and I thought your defense was solid on the first series, but the second drive they had the 167-yard touchdown, and from that point on, you're rolling the ball uphill all day.
Yeah, and again, self-inflicted. Assignments, right? Like we had a pre-snap alignment issue, and so the A gap was wide open, and it's not supposed to be. I promise you. And you know, so they were able to score a big one. And you look at that game, and most of their yardage came on like 2 plays from a defense perspective, and so I thought we played good enough to give us a chance to win the game on defense, but not good enough to win the game. And so, you know, we got to learn from it and be better.
You really have to give your defense credit, because after that touchdown, they got an interception by DeJean, took it down to the 5-yard line, and your defense held them to a field goal and kept you in the game at 10-0.
Yeah, you know, I thought our sudden change defense was good. You know, like I said, like we played pretty good for most of the game. Like it was 2 to 3 plays where you're like scratching your head, like why did we do that, you know? And that was the result of the game. So got to be better there. Got to play team and complementary football, which we will. You know, like I said, it's a team that will continue to improve, and you know, we've played some really good quality opponents, and Iowa is another one of those opponents that has traditionally been very sound, well coached, and you know they've only had one loss this season for a reason. As a good football team.
You know, offensively, you move the ball up and down the field pretty well, but we talked after the game, 12 tackles for loss in the game and 6 sacks, and you would get a couple of first downs and then a 4-yard loss, and all of a sudden you're 2nd and 14, and you're not going to convert a lot of 2nd and 3rd and 14s against that defense.
Yeah, our early down production on offense was a problem. You know, taking sacks or taking negative plays, specifically on first down. It gets hard to move the chains. You know, we were 3 times in the red area and came away with no points. That's usually not very good.
Yep.
And so, you know, we looked at things as a staff. You know, we've held ourselves accountable as players, and you know, just you realize you can't make those type of mistakes. You can't make and put people in those type of positions and expect to win a game against a team like Iowa. So. Had a great week of practice already. This week we'll finish it out with a clean Thursday. You know, we're banged up right now and getting guys back, and we're creative with the way we practice to make sure we're as fresh as possible on Saturday. So looking forward to the opportunity to go out there and compete and in front of a great crowd and a great community that it continues to show up at Ross-Ade.
To your team's credit, you're down 10-7 at halftime. They got the lead up to 20-7. You got a touchdown in the 4th quarter about midway through. The defense got the ball back, and despite the fact that you had made some mistakes, with 2 minutes left to play, you've got a chance to go down and score the winning touchdown.
Yeah, and again, that's, you know, I said earlier, like, this is the most frustrated I've been after a loss this season. It was because, like, in my mind, like, you know, I don't lack for if you haven't noticed, I don't lack for confidence, right? And so I believe that this team is a good football team. And usually when you're not a good football team and you play and make the mistakes we did against a team like Iowa, you don't have a chance to win the game.
Right.
And despite the errors that we had and really the uncharacteristic mistakes that we made in that game, you still have the ball with 2 minutes left to go down the field and score and to win the game against a team like Iowa at their place on their homecoming. And so that is why I was frustrated, because I'm like, man, this is a game that we had. We, you know, by all rights, we could have won that game, and you know, so we got to be better as a staff, and we'll move forward. We have, like I said, this week's practice has been really good, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of playing Ohio State.
All right, back in 2 minutes. This is the Ryan Walter Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Game that's going to go down in Purdue history is the Tyler Trent game. Talk about your relationship with Tyler, and specifically that night, what that meant to you to be able to give him that kind of a gift.
You know, I am a firm believer that everything that happened that night, everything with Tyler's story was divine, was ordained, that it happened exactly how it was supposed to, with the College Game Day piece, the way it was aired that morning, and then the attention on the game, and then Tyler being able, after having a rough week, to be able to be there and get to see us, you know, kind of accomplish what he had hoped for us was really special. And then obviously he was so brilliant and so smart, and he was able to use the platform that he had been given from his voice to now impact others and raise millions of dollars for cancer research, and to share his story and his testimony and how powerful it is. That's what I see. You know, when somebody stops me and they say, "Wait, you were the quarterback of Purdue that night, y'all beat Ohio State," and then the next thing is, and the kid Tyler Trent, right? That's every encounter I have about that night is about Tyler, and that's what people remember, and that's, in my opinion, exactly how it should be.
For a young man to have that kind of impact on the world is really kind of all anyone can ask of this life. And it's been awe-inspiring, really, like you said.
That's exactly right, Corey. I mean, it's Romans 1:16 says, "For we are unashamed of the gospel," and he was unashamed. Like, he was unashamed of what he believed and what he stood for, and what he wanted to people to know about him and his life. So that's something that is living with me today, just seeing how bold he was. And yeah.
David, this is a game that's going to go down in Purdue history as the Tyler Trent game.
The 2023 Purdue football season is presented by Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults. Earn a degree you're proud of and employers respect. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. We are coming to you from Walk-Ons, and I understand that Walk-Ons provided dinner for you and your coaches last night, and they've been a great partner for us here in the Purdue Memorial Union, and I know you wanted to give your thanks to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Staff really enjoyed it. We had some pasta, some wings. So kudos to Drew Brees and a proud alumni for backing this type of restaurant to provide such a great quality meal. Our guys probably ate too much that night, made for a hard film study afterward.
Well, and I was going to say, I know that the coaches work long hours this time of the year, so you got to fuel them as much as you can.
Absolutely, and Walk-Ons was a great place to do so.
We don't usually talk, Ryan, about week-to-week injuries, and we won't do that again tonight, but you've had 3 season-ending injuries here in the last couple of weeks. Marcus Bowe, Max Clare, and Marquise Wilson. Can you give us a little bit of an update? Marcus is a tough bet, the deal on Saturday, because that was a pretty gruesome injury.
Yeah, you hate it. Unfortunately, that is the risk you take when you play this beautiful game. But you talk about 3 guys that are and were doing a lot of really good things for us. Marquise came in as a transfer from Penn State and was a starting corner and really was playing really good football. He had, I think it was in the top 3 in PBUs in the Big Ten. Really has been playing sound, and he hurt his wrist, had to have it operated on so that he could have some stability. So to speak to this kid's toughness, right? He hurts it the first play or the first series of the game, and splints it and plays the whole game.
Yeah.
And so it's slipping in and out throughout the course of the game, and he just continues to play. So he's done. Max Clare, obviously you guys see the talent he has, and the bright future he will have here as a young guy. Really was hitting his stride and being a feature for us on offense. Had an ankle injury. He's had the operation. He'll bounce back, and hopefully we'll have him for spring ball. And then Marcus Bowe, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Right tackle, and another young guy, but has a lot of talent, a lot of promise, and was playing, really better than all of our players on the offensive line. Obviously Gus is back in the lineup, so he's playing really good ball too. But tremendous leaders for us as well, and you hate to see that type of injury during the course of a game. I was right there with him and had my arm around him when they were putting his ankle back in place, and that was a tough moment, you know what I mean, and you feel for him, but he's had, we got a great medical staff, and he's already had it operated on. Everything looks promising, and he'll be ready to go next fall. What
do you do when you go out, and thankfully you haven't had to do it a lot this season, but when you go out and there's a serious injury, what's your first priority when you get to the player? What are you trying to do out there?
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not trying to diagnose or fix the problem.
Right.
But, it was easy to see what was wrong.
Yep.
It was that type of injury.
Yeah.
And I could tell Marcus from a mental point was processing what was taking place,
yeah,
and what that would mean, and so you start to get a little frantic, and so all I said was, Marcus, just look at me, and he did, and I told him just breathe, and we're all here for him, and let the docs do what they do, and in the long run, all will be okay. I know it sucks right now, but in that moment, I was just telling him to look at me so that he wouldn't look down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, the docs did a great job of setting it right there, and getting him off the field, and getting him into a safe place, and taking care of him so that he could have a speedy recovery.
On the flip side of that, we found out that Garrett Miller has made the latest cut on the Comeback Player of the Year award watch list. That's from the College Sports Communicators in association with the AP and the Fiesta Bowl organization. Garrett Miller, a guy that suffered a severe knee injury last year, and his comeback, and he's starting to look like the Garrett Miller we expected.
Yeah, he's done a great job of really attacking the rehab process. You think about him and Gus. Gus should be on that list too. I'm just telling you, this. He looks like he's never had an injury now. You know what I mean? But Garrett, to overcome that, especially as a big skill guy, where you're out in space and you're getting tackled and things of that nature, he's really starting to develop confidence in his preparation and confidence in the reps that he's had, which is why I think he's starting to play like you guys have been accustomed to seeing him. This is my first time seeing him in this capacity, right? And so I told him after the game, we all call him G Millie all the time, and I'm like, G Millie, bro, I'm a fan. I love watching you play. I love seeing how you attack the game, how you attack practice. He plays tough and physical. He gets it grimy. You know what I mean? And so you get that big of a body with the ball in his hands, and people. He moves a lot faster than people think. Guys don't like tackling him. So I'm glad that our defense doesn't have to tackle a guy like him.
All right, we'll have more with the head coach in 2 minutes. It is the Ryan Walters Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
So that's how they align every time, and they make their adjustments from there.
Here's Hill, and that throw hits right off the face of his receiver, bounces up, and it is intercepted. I guess he was lined up in the perfect spot. Talking about Wiedemann. Ball bounces directly to him. He's a terrific tackler. He's a ball hawk.
Hill's on the money with the play-action pass. It's a vision defense, bounces off the receiver's hands. Wiedemann. Players like Eugene make you pay.
2nd and goal. And this football goes straight up into the air off the hands of Hill. Now he's just trying to dive on it, and he's A-bar. And now that clock rolls. Card. Trying to step up in the pocket. Now he escapes. Eyes downfield. Has a target. It's Sheffield down the sideline. He goes and in for the touchdown. Hill. Pressured and dropped. Back into the end zone like that. A little different look to it these days, but that one still haunts the Irish. Complete this time. Maccabee, and Maccabee goes airborne as he crosses.
2 plays. They've gotten themselves in scoring distance.
Hard. Tipped up in the air. It's caught. This is Sheffield. Now Sheffield inside the 15, so it's tipped. Card hands it off. Maccabee into the end zone. He will go. So Purdue making a game of it.
In the Purdue Memorial Union, everyone needs a little playing time. Purdue Athletics would like to thank and recognize members of the Black and Gold Club who support Purdue Athletics through their sponsorship at the highest level. Black and Gold Club members include Indiana Packers, Molson Coors, Purdue Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Rohrman Automotive Group, and Wabash. Each are great partners of Purdue Athletics. Do want to mention next week we will take the show on the road. We'll be coming to you next week from Wolfie's in Carmel. That's located at 1162 Keystone Way in Carmel at 6:05. And then 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be back here at our normal spot in Walk-Ons. And again, the Boilermakers playing this week against Ohio State with a noon kickoff and then a bye next week. Let's talk about the block kick, because you don't see a lot of block kicks these days, and I thought that was a big play for your defense. Corday Sidnor, I think, was credited with that. How did they do it, and how much do you work on that in practice every week?
I work it every Tuesday and Wednesday, and they just, they did what they were supposed to do in terms of getting push and getting drive for, those 3 hard steps before you get your hand up. So you get, those instances coupled with a slightly low kick,
right.
And they took advantage of it, and were able to get a stop for us.
Let's quickly go to Facebook and check in. Matt checking in from Syracuse tells us to boil her up. We'll try. Julie from Kokomo, Peggy from St. Louis, Ira from Swamico, Wisconsin, Daniels in Hillsdale, Michigan, Vicky in Englewood, Florida, Michael in Crown Point. Michael says, please ask Coach, what do we need to do better? Lots of answers, but pick one or two things that you think are the biggest areas of improvement you need right now at the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, I would say offensively, it's just early down success. Not having negative yardage plays on early downs. Defensively, it's pre-snap alignment and assignment issues to not give up explosive plays.
We noticed earlier this week that Dylan Thieneman was named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week for the second time this year, and you talked earlier in the week at your press conference. This is a guy, it's hard to find flaws in what he does either on or off the field.
Yeah, he's a special individual, and it's not hard to see why when you get to know his family and sort of the history there and what type of familiar environment he grew up in. But for him to be such a self-motivated guy as he is and as talented as he is with the work ethic, both on and off the field, is really special to be a part of. He
was not the only true freshman you had in the secondary. Derek Rogers got his first start at cornerback, and he's a guy that you've had your eye on for quite a long time.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with his maturation and his love for the game, really. Got to know him a little bit through the recruiting process as a junior when I was at Illinois, and just watching him play and in practice. He played receiver. I like getting receivers to play DB because they have ball skills. They understand splits and stems offensively. And he's a tough kid that just loves to play football. And so, the moments are not too big for him, which is why he's earned the right to be out there.
One of the guys offensively who had a big day for you last week was T.J. Sheffield, and not only receiving the football, which he did very well, but he made a great play on a punt, picking it up on a hop and having your longest punt return of the season.
Yeah, he did a great job of getting vertical and making a guy miss, and the rest of the punt return unit did a good job of getting guys blocked up and allowing him to have some space to get vertical and down the field.
Back to the other side of the ball for a minute. One of the guys that we've called a lot in the broadcast the last couple of weeks is Mo Amonade, one of your defensive linemen from West Lafayette. He seems to be getting better and better every week.
Yeah, he's got an unbelievable motor for a guy his size. He's really quick and practices with an unbelievable enthusiasm. And whenever he makes plays, it energizes the sideline for sure.
And we're at the point, too, in the Big Ten season, Ryan. You've got to have that depth in there. I mean, you're at the point now where you can't expect guys.
What is depth?
You can't expect guys, though, to be, especially on the defensive side, they can't go every snap.
No, they can't, which is why we got to be smart with how we're practicing right now.
Yeah.
This bye week coming up can't come soon enough, you know what I mean, just to try to get guys back fresh and healthy. This is a time of the year where everybody's dealing with injuries in some capacity, and it's just unfortunate that we've had, guys that are, we were really, really counting on not being available for the rest of the year. But, it's always next man up mentality, and we're excited for another opportunity to go play.
All right, we talked about some of the youngsters on the defensive side. When we come back, we'll talk to one of the veterans. Cam Allen will join us next. It is the Ryan Walters Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Shot. Hudson, an appropriate way to end with her.
Chicoine gets the ace. Second ace of the night for Purdue, and Chicoine owns both of them. Chicoine gets the point and seals the match.
We had run some sort of, Coach Brom liked to call some of the quarterback run games whenever we had to have it in the kind of critical down and distances, I would say. And so I had a run earlier that might have converted a third down, and he knew we were getting a lot of man coverage. They knew they had to kind of give us man coverage, so he's like, okay, let's put Rondale in the backfield, and as long as we get Rondale's guy blocked, which I believe as we motioned him out to the left and threw it to him on the swing pass, Cole Herdman just got enough of the guy who is responsible running with him. And, if that defender goes over the top of him, the angle's completely different. But Cole got that defender to go underneath, and Rondell catches it on the swing. He's got momentum going downhill, and then the incredible athletic ability that he has, and center of gravity, and all the strength he has in his legs to make guys miss and to drag defenders and to shake off. And that was easily the highlight of my career that night, and seeing him run into the end zone and celebrate with my teammates.
I have to admit on that touchdown, it was a third down play. And if you remember, I think you were up 2 touchdowns at the time. So you're trying to make sure that you score, or at least hang on to the football for a little bit. As soon as he got past the first down marker, I kind of relaxed a little bit, and I saw looked like he was going out of bounds. So I started to glance at the computer screen, and my son was spotting for me, and he kind of hit me on the arm like, Rondale's still running. I was just as surprised as anybody else, because we couldn't see him. He disappeared into the Ohio State defense, and then all of a sudden, here comes number 4 running into the end zone.
Yeah, I think right. That's exactly probably when you hear Chris Fowler say, "He's still going."
It's Moore in motion. They get it to him. Moore in space. A burst of speed. A first down for Purdue. He's still going. Moore cuts back. Touchdown.
It's that iconic clip for all of us. And I think it's that same feeling. It was like, wow, we got the first down. Here comes another 2 minutes off the clock. And then he did what only he can do, with the ball in his hand. And that was kind of when it hit me. It was like, we got this.
It's going to happen.
Welcome back to the Ryan Walters Show. We're live at Walk-Ons in the Purdue Memorial Union, where it's always game day with a taste of Louisiana. And we have a Bluefield, Virginia native, Cam Allen, a fifth-year senior from the state of Virginia, who got to play pretty close to your hometown back what seemed like about a 2 or 3 day game against Virginia Tech. Do you get those storms there a lot, like we had that day?
Yeah, it definitely can, start pouring down a little bit when you're in the mountains a little bit, but nah, something like that, I ain't seen nothing like that in a minute for real.
How many family members did you have at that game, and did they stay until the very end?
Shoot, I think I had to grab about 40 plus tickets for that game. And shoot, the stadium was only about 45 minutes from my house, so the delay was very long. So, I think my dad said, he was about to drive back, but then they moved the time up, so he started driving back to the game.
There you go. There you go. Was that at all a factor when you were looking whether you're going to come back, because you had the decision to make of your 5th year? When you saw Virginia Tech on the schedule for 2023, did that factor into it at all?
Honestly, I don't think it had any factor, but, once I did make that decision, I felt like it was dang, it kind of happened for a reason maybe, to go back home and play in front of so many family and friends, stuff like that. So, it was definitely a great opportunity, to go back and do that.
Well, I think we talked about this the last time you were on the show, but you were a high school quarterback as well as a defensive back, 61 total touchdowns. Did you ever lobby this coaching staff to, hey, why don't you try me on the other side of the football here for a while?
Shoot, Coach Walters be throwing the football to us. I be having to throw it back to him. I think they see my arm a little bit. I think they know I got it in the cannon a little bit. So if they ever need me, I got them.
But you can't use that cannon on the defensive side, right? They got to move you over if you're going to do that.
Nah, yeah,
I'm just saying.
They're going to have to watch the show, see what we talking about right here.
You've been a 3-time honorable mention All Big Ten selection. You're 3rd right now all-time in Boilermaker history with interceptions. What is it that has given you that nose for the football throughout your entire career?
First, I think it's just, the preparation, I put into the game, film study, being a former quarterback, like you said, in high school, just having a good feel, what the quarterback wants to do with the ball, certain formations, just all the things that lead up to, those moments. And just once you get out there and get the opportunity, you got to execute.
I mentioned you've got some young guys back there in the secondary, Dylan Thieneman and Derek Rogers, true freshmen in their first season. As the veteran, how do you provide leadership both on and off the field for that group?
Yeah, honestly, just to keep reminding them, you never know when this is going to be your last opportunity. So, once you step on that field, give it 110% effort. whenever you're out there, and you just, like I said, preparation is going to help you make those plays. So just keep preparing, and those guys have been doing great at that, as you can see on the field. So, yeah, just keep doing what they're doing.
Whether you're in sports or in the business world, when you have new people come in leadership roles, it's an adjustment for everybody. How long did it take you to adjust to Coach Walters and the staff, and what have they brought to this program for you?
I feel like, it was a very, very smooth transition. Guys, whenever they got here, we all bonded very well. I feel like we all had the same chemistry. We know we wanted to get accomplished at this program. And I feel like the vibes were very, very different. And it was a very, fun locker room to be in. So, starting to put all the things together, as we keep going into the season, just take it one game at a time.
The last time that Purdue played Ohio State in Ross-Ade Stadium was 2018. Boilermakers upset the second-ranked Buckeyes. You were in the stadium, but you were a recruit that night. What do you remember the most about that game and that night?
Sure, I feel like what everybody remember for real, definitely Rondale Moore going crazy. But yeah, just the atmosphere, that's definitely what, intrigued me to coming to that game and seeing them get a big-time dub. Just the environment for real that Purdue fans, they put out, since Jeff Brom had got there. But yeah, definitely just how the things went, and just it was a great environment.
Had you already decided to come here before that night, or were you still up in the air at that point?
I think I had already decided, but I feel like that, that put the cherry
that
on
was
top.
the capper on top of it.
Yeah, that was a capper right there.
All right, you get a chance to play against one of the premier programs in college football, Ohio State. You had a chance to play against them last year. What do you look forward to in a matchup like this?
Yeah, honestly, just like I keep saying, is the opportunity to go out there and, execute plays, they got to put their shoelaces on just like we do. So, one step at a time, like I said, and just prepare for the opportunity.
Cam, glad to have you back there as a fifth-year senior. Good luck here in the second half of the season, and let's get this thing going starting on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk with Gus Hartwig next. It is the Ryan Walters Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Game that's going to go down in Purdue history is the Tyler Trent game. Talk about your relationship with Tyler, and specifically that night, what that meant to you to be able to give him that kind of a gift.
I am a firm believer that everything that happened that night, everything with Tyler's story was divine, was ordained, that it happened exactly how it was supposed to, with the College game day piece, the way it was aired that morning, and then the attention on the game, and then Tyler being able, after having a rough week, to be able to be there and get to see us, kind of accomplish what he had hoped for us was really special. And then obviously he was so brilliant and so smart, and he was able to use the platform that he had been given from his voice to now impact others and raise millions of dollars for cancer research, and to share his story and his testimony, and how powerful it is. That's what I see. When somebody stops me and they say, "Wait, you were the quarterback of Purdue that night. Y'all beat Ohio State," and then the next thing is, and the kid Tyler Trent, right? That's every encounter I have about that night is about Tyler, and that's what people remember, and that's, in my opinion, exactly how it should be.
For a young man to have that kind of impact on the world is really kind of all anyone can ask of this life, and it's been awe-inspiring, really, like you said.
That's exactly right, Corey. I mean, it's Romans 1:16 says, "For we are unashamed of the gospel," and he was unashamed. Like, he was unashamed of what he believed and what he stood for, and what he wanted to people to know about him and his life. So that was that's something that is living with me today, just seeing how bold he was. And yeah.
David, this is a game that's going to go down.
It's time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are boiler made. Raheem Mostert with the Miami Dolphins continues to have an outstanding season. Last week, 10 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown in the win over the New York Giants. He has 7 rushing touchdowns right now, which is tied for the NFL lead with Christian McCaffrey. Rondale Moore for Arizona, 50 rushing yards, 26 receiving yards, and a loss to Cincinnati. And even though New England was shut out by New Orleans, Juwan Bentley had a big game at linebacker with 11 tackles and 1 sack. We are joined by Gus Hartwig, who is a senior from Zionsville. Actually, he's a graduate student because he has his undergraduate degree in finance, working on a master's degree in global supply chain management, both from the Daniel School. So, you know, if the football thing is going to go hopefully a long, long time, but you do have something good to fall back on.
Yeah, for sure. It's good having a nice option there.
You were at the 2018 game at the Ohio State-Purdue game, but I understand you left early as a recruit. How could you leave a game like that at halftime?
Just kind of in the time, it was a freezing game, and we were like kind of as a recruit at that time. I wasn't very sure about Purdue, so it was kind of like, all right, like, I don't know if I like it that much. Let's get out of here. It was cold. It was late.
You missed a pretty good. Yeah, but you did say you listened to the game on the radio, right? So you heard us call it. So well, okay, now, we'll take a little credit for that then. We talked about injuries with the coach on a couple segments ago, and you had a knee injury last year in the Northwestern game. Did you know right away how severe it was when you were on the field?
I think I probably had a pretty good idea. I just kind of I was hoping they wouldn't tell me what I was expecting. But it was like you kind of knew. It was okay, like kind of the way my knee felt was like, yeah, there's something pretty big here.
When we hear about the surgery now, and it was ACL, right?
Yeah, ACL and a couple others.
And what we hear a lot from students or student athletes who are coming back from that, it's not just the physical part, which is tough in itself, but it's the mental part.
Yeah.
How hard was it to come back in those days that maybe, hey, I didn't make as much progress today as I wanted to, even though I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, it's definitely tough in those days because you're doing so much, and sometimes you don't see the progress that you're expecting to see or you're hoping to see. So it's tough in that aspect, and it's also tough to just kind of once again like trust your knee or trust that body part enough to go out there and be able to play football at a high enough level in the Big Ten.
When was the first time that you felt, hey, I'm back to where I need to be?
It was probably the second, third play against Wisconsin when I kind of go up against this guy and I block him pretty well. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm good. Like,
yeah,
we're good to go. And then there's a couple times when maybe I fall on it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fine. I get hit. Okay, I'm okay. Like different situations.
I know how tight offensive linemen get to be. It's probably the tightest unit of any group on any football team. It had to be doubly hard for you then Saturday to see what happened to Marcus.
Yeah, for sure. It's always, I mean, offensive line, we're really close. We're always a really close group because we do so much together and we do so much all the time. It was obviously really hard to see that for him. And it was just kind of use what I went through last year to try and help him as much as I could.
We talked to Cam about this, but talk about your transition coming in with a new coaching staff this year, new head coach, new offensive line coach. What differences you've seen and what they've meant to you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, just kind of doing a new energy within the program, kind of a more sense to maybe have a more enjoyable time, have more fun while you're in the building. It's not all work all the time. Like we can have a good time and still go what we need to get done, and kind of like with Coach Johnson as the offensive line coach, he's just kind of brought like a new energy or new identity, but kind of he's a really good coach, and he's really helped groom a lot of us and kind of help our understanding of the game.
I noticed there's a little less hair and a little less beard with Gus Hartwig. Is that a superstition thing?
Maybe a little bit. I'm very superstitious and kind of like haven't been doing well the last couple of weeks, so it's like, okay, maybe I'll try and change up the beard, see if that helps. Like just kind of change it up.
Is there anything specifically you do on game day? Any routines you have either the night before or the day of a game?
I mean, I could really just kind of like I wear the same stuff. I try and eat a pretty similar. If we win, I try and eat pretty much the same meal. Kind of morning of, I'll listen to the same stuff. I'll just kind of try and stretch. Like every Friday I do the same stretch. Every Thursday I do the same stretch. Thursday we go to the same place to eat. Wednesday we go to the same place to eat. Kind of stuff like that.
Creatures of habit.
Very much so.
Athletes are creatures of habit. What's it like for you to run from this locker room through the tunnel into a full Ross-Ade Stadium?
Yeah, the tunnel is awesome. It makes it so much easier than having to kind of the way we've had to get to the stadium in the last couple of years has been. It's been a long way, and you're going through the fans, and you got to do that, and it's really nice just kind of getting through there, and you come out, and it's just you're right in front of everybody. It's an awesome tunnel, so much quicker. It's great to see all the support we have and be able to get that built.
I read that you're considering, in addition to a career maybe in the business world, you might consider coaching. What have you learned or what have you taken from other coaches, if you did become one, that you think you can carry into your own coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think what I've learned just kind of throughout that, like being a coach is just it's such a great honor to be able to be in front of that many people. And I just think like what I've learned probably is just kind of allow other people to allow the players to kind of do what they do best and try and set them up in that situation.
Setting up trust is a key too. You got to be able to trust what the coach says and what the coach is telling you that in order to carry out that game plan every week.
For sure.
Gus, good luck the rest of the way this season. Great to have you back on the season or on the field. And let's stay out there and let's see if we can get some wins here in the second half.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll have the head coach back. Ryan Walters will join us next. It is the Ryan Walters Show presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
So that's how they align every time, and they make their adjustments from there.
Here's Hill, and that throw hits right off the face of his receiver, bounces up, and it is intercepted. I guess he was lined up in the perfect spot. Talking about Wiedemann. Ball bounces directly to him. He's a terrific tackler. He's a ball hawk.
Hill's on the money with the play-action pass. It's a vision defense, bounces off the receiver's hands. Wiedemann. Players like Eugene make you pay.
Second and goal. This football goes straight up into the air, off the hands of Hill. Now he's just trying to dive on it, and he's A-bar. And now that clock rolls. Card. Trying to step up in the pocket. Now he escapes. Eyes downfield. Has a target. It's Sheffield down the sideline. He goes and in for the touchdown. Hill. Pressured and dropped. Back into the end zone like that. A little different look to it these days, but that one still haunts the Irish. Complete this time. Maccabee, and Maccabee goes airborne as he crosses.
2 plays. They've got themselves in scoring distance.
Hard. Tipped up in the air. It's caught. This is Sheffield. Now Sheffield inside the 15, so it's tipped. Card hands it off. Maccabee into the end zone. He will go. So Purdue making a game of it.
Supporting your Boilermakers as the presenting sponsor of the Ryan Walters Show and proud partner of Purdue Athletics, Rohrman Automotive Group. Boiler up and hammer down. Let's check back in, make sure we're not missing anybody on Facebook. Eli in Chesterton, Tammy in Fort Wayne, Greg in South Bend tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Jeff in Cape Coral, Florida, and Walter in Lowell. And I think that pretty much brings us up to date. It has to mean a lot for you, Ryan, as a new head coach, when you got guys like Cam Allen and Gus Hartwig, returning guys who've had a lot of experience under their belt. When they buy into what you're doing, it really makes it easier to run the locker room and make everything run smoothly.
Absolutely. You know, those guys have, to their credit, have embraced the culture change, embraced the new staff with blind faith, you know, and I think the fact that we've been open and honest and have followed through with some of the things that we've said we were going to do has lent itself for them to believe, and I'm just appreciative that, you know, we got those type of guys in the locker room.
We mentioned earlier in the show that you had 6 sacks against last week and 12 tackles for loss. As you went back and looked on the sacks, Hudson is trying to make plays, and you got to give him all the credit in the world for trying to make plays. Would you like to see him get rid of the ball sooner than he is right now?
You know, yeah, obviously you don't want to take six sacks, right? But I also think there's each play is its own entity, right? Like there's not one overall common theme. You know, I know that the quarterback gets critiqued the most because he's the one that's got the ball in his hand, right? But, you know, receivers got to run the right route.
Yep.
Guys got to get open if it's man-to-man coverage.
Yep. Pockets got to hold.
Pockets got to hold. You know, as a staff, we got to give him quick and easy answers in certain situations. So it's not all on HUD. You know what I mean? You know, were there times where he could have thrown the ball away or just try to get what he could get and get down? Absolutely, and that's part of the maturation and part of the learning curve. You know, people still forget this is his first time being a full-time starter in college, right? And as talented as he is, and as great as he looks at times, this is still his first time starting. And so, you know, to go through what he's gone through and be banged up as he was, you know, I was really proud of the fact that he competed and finished the game because he was hurting. So it tells you kind of what type of toughness he has. I think he'll only get better and gain more experience, and this will be a valuable lesson for him and for us as a staff to put him in good positions.
Let's talk about those fellas coming in here on Saturday. Ohio State will bring an unbeaten record and a third ranking in the country in, and we know that they can score. They're scoring 35 a game. Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka, although we don't know what their health status is, two of the best receivers, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. And Travion Henderson, who didn't play last week, probably will this week, is a dynamic running back. Yeah, they got guys that will definitely play on Sundays, right? Good thing for us, we're not playing on Sunday, we're playing on Saturday. And you know, we get a chance to go compete. And when you're a competitor and you want to play at the highest level, you want the best competition. And this season, you know, the way our schedule is set up, we were able to do so. Yeah. And so, you know, this is what you want. This is why you are in college football and in this conference to go compete with the best. The biggest difference I look at with Ohio State in 2022 compared to 2023, their defense is only giving up 10 points a game, and they are not allowing, at this point at least in the season, explosive plays. Yeah, talented group for sure. You know, coach does a good job of putting them in good positions, and they got really good players. That always helps. Good players are a big key to this whole thing. Usually. Well, you got them coming in. Our final segment of the Ryan Walters Show, presented by the Rohrman Automotive Group, is coming up on the Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.
Game that's going to go down in Purdue history is the Tyler Trent game. Talk about your relationship with Tyler, and specifically that night, what that meant to you to be able to give him that kind of a gift.
You know, I am a firm believer that everything that happened that night, everything with Tyler's story was divine, was ordained, that it happened exactly how it was supposed to with the College Game Day piece, the way it was aired that morning, and then the attention on the game, and then Tyler being able, after having a rough week, to be able to be there and get to see us, you know, kind of accomplish what he had hoped for us was really special. And then obviously he was so brilliant and so smart, and he was able to use the platform that he had been given from his voice to now impact others and raise millions of dollars for cancer research, and to share his story and his testimony and how powerful it is. That's what I see. You know, when somebody stops me and they say, "Wait, you were the quarterback of Purdue that night, y'all beat Ohio State," and then the next thing is, and the kid Tyler Trent, right? That's every encounter I have about that night is about Tyler, and that's what people remember, and that's, in my opinion, exactly how it should be.
For a young man to have that kind of impact on the world is really kind of all anyone can ask of this life, and it's been awe-inspiring, really, like you said.
That's exactly right, Corey. I mean, it's Romans 1:16 says, "For we are unashamed of the gospel," and he was unashamed. Like, he was unashamed of what he believed and what he stood for, and what he wanted to people to know about him and his life. So that was that's something that is living with me today, just seeing how bold he was. And yeah.
David, this is a game that's going to go down in Purdue.
The 2023 Purdue football season is presented by Purdue Global, Purdue's online university for working adults. Earn a degree you're proud of and employers respect. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu. Just a reminder, we'll be at Wolfie's in Carmel next week for the Ryan Walters Show. That's located at 1162 Keystone Way in Carmel. Of course, we have 5 Carmel players on the roster: Will Helt, Winston Berglund, Dylan Downing, Ethan Trent, Cole Brevard. That's been a pretty good mind to get some talent from.
Absolutely. So we'll keep heading back there for sure.
And then we'll be back here 2 weeks from tonight. Again, the Boilermakers and the Ohio State Buckeyes coming up on Saturday. Then you have a bye week. It's coming at a good time. Probably it'd be even better if it's a little earlier, but right now it is what it is. What will you do now after the game Saturday, between then and the Nebraska game?
Yeah, so we'll give the players a couple days off. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with Tuesday and Wednesday being a focus on some of the guys that aren't doing a lot of playing and redshirting, allowing our guys that are playing to do some rehab and strength conditioning work, to keep them sharp from a physical standpoint, but to also get their bodies back and healthy for that 5-game stretch. That's going to be hugely important to the close of this season and to be a catapult moving forward. And as a staff, we'll get out on the road, recruiting wise. We got guys that'll hit Indy and the surrounding areas in the state of Indiana pretty tough. And then we'll get out, pretty across the country to shear up some 24s, evaluate some 25s, and then get back in town to start prep for Nebraska.
And you've got a lot of guys coming this weekend for visits, right?
Yeah, a lot. A lot of high-profile guys will be on campus. We continue to encourage them to come to game. Game days are a huge sell for us just because of the atmosphere and the electricity and the support for Purdue athletics and in specific for football. And so there's a reason why we've had the success we've had this early in the recruiting process, and it's because of the ability for this place to sell itself.
It's hard to believe, Ryan, we're halfway through the season right now, and I know, again, the record is not what you want, but you feel like this team is getting close, this team's getting better. It's just a matter of time before the lid comes off.
Yeah, absolutely. I showed a graph the other day of 2 miners mining for diamonds, right? And one is on his way back because he can't see where the diamonds are within the dirt, and the other one is keep pushing forward. And you never know when greatness is around the corner. You never know when it's going to strike. You never know when a streak is going to start, and so you just got to keep your head down and keep working. And we see improvements. It has not been perfect, but when we have played the style of play that we're capable of, it has looked special. And so, like I said, that's why this past week was disappointing, because we didn't play clean like we have been able to, and we still were in a position to go win the game. And so I do fully have confidence in this team and this locker room and the staff to really put a stamp on this season going into the second half of the schedule.
Well, let's see if we can do something special this week. Good luck, and we'll see you Saturday at Ross-Ade.
Appreciate it. Boiler up.
All right, thanks to our engineer, Wes Scott, our producer tonight, Ethan Sargent, video by the Corey Palm Corporation. The Boilermakers and the Ohio State Buckeyes coming up on Saturday. We'll have the broadcast starting at 11, Facebook Live at 10:30. Don't forget, we'll be at Carmel next week. For the head coach, Gus and Cam, this is Tim Newton. This has been Purdue Global Sports Network from Learfield.